So first, I'd like to thank all of you that are guests that are attending today's virtual open house for the Department of Conflict Resolution Studies. With me, as always, are two of my team members. Mr. Rose with me, who I'm sure majority of you have been contacting with, as well as Mr. Theodore Uwe. We also do have three of our faculty members that are going to be learning more about in a little bit, but we have Dr. Judith McKay, Dr. Cheryl Duckworth, and Dr. Pushpa Iyer. You'll be hearing more from them later, and we are looking forward to it. So, as I have not said yet, though, my name is Brett McAllister. I'm the Director for Graduate Admissions for the Halmos College of Arts and Sciences. And I do like to start off by introducing the Dean of the college. Dr. Holly Lynn Baumgartner is the Dean and Professor at our university. She served as the Dean of the college since 2021. She focuses on encouraging student pilot projects which aim at tackling real-world problems such as planet and community healthcare. She has won numerous awards, such as the Mercy College Professor of the Year, and regularly publishes and presents at conferences nationally and internationally. I cannot speak highly enough about the dean of our college. Now, Nova Southeastern University, a brief overview for you all. We were founded in 1964, offer more than 280 undergraduate, graduate, and professional degree programs, the largest private not-for-profit institution in the United States that meets the U.S. Department of Education's criteria as a Hispanic serving institution, accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission, one of the only of 50 universities to be awarded Carnegie's Community Engagement classifications. Now, we do have multiple campuses. Our main campus is going to be in Fort Lauderdale-Davie area. It is a 300-acre campus located approximately 24 miles north of downtown Miami. We do have a southern campus located in North Miami Beach, serves the South Florida area. It's located near the Florida Turnpike and Kendall Drive. We have our oceanographic facility out in Dania Beach. It is NSU's newest research facility and located about 12 miles from the main campus right on the coastline. We also have the University School of Fort Lauderdale and Davie that serves pre-K through grade 12, located right on main campus. Now, NSU also operates a student education centers and satellite campuses in 7 other major cities in Florida, in addition to international locations in the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. Now, for some of our facilities that we do have, our fantastic Alvin Sherman Library Research, Information, and Technology Center is a 5-story, 325,000 square foot library. It is the largest library building in Florida and located on main campus. We also have the Don Taft University Center, which is the focal point for all of campus life, calling everything from the fitness center, performing arts wing, the food court, and the flight deck, which is NSU Student Lounge. Now, as we mentioned, the Halmos College of Arts and Sciences is actually going to be divided between 2 campuses, the main one focusing on the Fort Lauderdale-Davie campus, and a secondary campus, as we mentioned before, which is the Oceanographic campus out in Dania Beach. Now, the department includes a variety of 6 different departments from the graduate level, and then 7 total, including 1 for the undergrad. The undergraduate department is going to be mathematics, and then from the art side of the college is going to be our communication, media, and the arts, humanities and politics, and the conflict resolution studies department. From our sciences, it is a biological sciences, and then chemistry and physics, and a marine and environmental sciences, with the marine and some of the biology students being classes out at the Oceanographic campus. Now, as I mentioned before, we do have our 6 different graduate departments, which is master's degrees in biological sciences, composition, rhetoric, and digital media, conflict analysis and resolution, environmental sciences, marine science, medicinal chemistry, and in national securities affairs and international relations, with 2 doctoral degrees in conflict analysis and resolution, as well as oceanography and marine biology. The Department of Conflict Analysis and Resolution Studies, which is the showcase for today, is located predominantly on the main campus in the Mailman Hollywood building. It offers also an undergraduate degree in a BS in sociology, and our graduate degrees are the MS in conflict analysis and resolution, and then the PhD in conflict analysis and resolution. Now, I have the distinct pleasure of being able to introduce the department chair, which is Dr. Pushpa Iyer. She is newcomer to NSU. We're very excited to have her. Dr. Iyer is an activist, practitioner, scholar, and educator specializing in conflict resolution, peace building, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. In 2011, she founded the Center for Conflict Studies, which she continues to lead. The center has launched several successful initiatives, including a summer peacebuilding program, a certificate in conflict resolution, and the Allies Initiative for Racial Equality. So, Dr. Iyer, thank you very much. I'm very happy to turn the floor over to you, and let's go.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. I am delighted to speak with all of you. I can't see you, but I'm just really happy to be talking with all of you today. It is indeed my first open house that I am doing. I am brand new. I started in June. But I come with a long background in conflict resolution, and I'm just so happy to have found NOVA, which has actually a department that works on conflict resolution. So as was noted before, we are a department that has an undergraduate degree also in sociology, and I'm going to focus on the master's and the PhD program here today, which are in conflict resolution. So in our program, if you did come to our program, you're going to be learning all about conflicts, how do you understand or even identify conflicts, different types of conflicts that we look at. We look at things like how do you prevent violence and how do you prevent conflict? How do you bridge? So learning about some of the approaches and the strategies to bridge divides in communities and organizations or nations. We are talking a lot about in conflict resolution on how to challenge systemic kinds of challenges and problems, so anything that really focuses our attention on the structural problems that exist for the conflicts that we are studying. It trains you how to be a resolver, and this probably is one of our biggest strengths here at NOAA, is that it's a field as it is a very applied field, but we really emphasize on the practice part of it. So learning how to be a facilitator, mediator, negotiator, educator, or more, and how to promote peace building in societies that are, coming out of war or violence. What does rebuilding look like? And here are some of the topics that we look at, which is trauma healing, law, justice, and so on. Now, the very interesting thing about who we are as a department in the context of what we are studying, and let me just make sure that, we all are probably in agreement that this is one of those fields that is not just so relevant for the world today, but it is also something that is most needed, right? So first of all, congratulations for all of you for considering conflict resolution and wanting to come to a program that specializes in it. So the field of conflict resolution, as I said, is a very applied field. It's a mix of theory, it's a mix of theory, practice, but it's also this idea of how you conduct your research. And I think we as a faculty in this department, and this is what is most exciting for me in joining this department at NOVA, is that the faculty come from such varied places. I mean, literally in terms of which parts of the world we come from, but also the fact that we come with such varied backgrounds, academic, as well as the practice component. So our faculty, if you come, you will see that not only are you going to understand the foundations of the field, but you're really going to find you're working with people who are doing it every day in the different fields. And when I introduce my colleagues, you'll hear some more. But that's kind of the excitement that I feel. I'm just as new as you all are listening to this, and that's the excitement I feel about this department, and you'll share that as well. Not only are our faculty this diverse, but it's also are the students who come to our programs who come from diverse backgrounds. And that's just equally exciting for me, because we are talking with students who are currently in certain positions, jobs, careers. They're looking for something more, an additional aspect that they want to add to who they are in their professional roles that they play. But we're also looking at students who are coming into the master's program to explore what this field is and to find their space. We're looking for people who want to become conflict professionals, as in running their own institutions or centers. And so there's such a wide variety that you will hear about our alumni in a minute, but that's the other part of our department that truly excites me. Can we go to the next one? Yeah. So the other thing about our department, which I think makes us in some ways, both unique. I mean, although after COVID, it's not that unique, but yet at the same time, that's how we started, is this ability to reach people who are in different stages of their life and want to pursue higher education. So we have courses that are both on campus and online. Most of our courses are in the evening. Even if you're an online student, there are opportunities for you to come to campus to engage one-on-one at certain times of the year. For example, we hold a residential institute, we have workshops that we do. And so your chance to be a part of, connecting with your peers one-on-one, which from whom you often learn the most, in a higher education setting, as well as your professors, is definitely possible. The residential institute usually held twice a year, and they are held usually in the fall and the winter terms. As expected, it's a great opportunity for you to try out some experiential exercises that our faculty conducts. There's simulations, panel discussions, career development sessions, and more. It's also a chance for you to connect and get to know faculty one-on-one and build that relationship that was probably going to be very important for your professional careers. Next one. We also have an opportunity for you through our working groups to get more in depth into the areas that you really might enjoy or want to explore further. So these are some of the working groups that exist. These are led by faculty, and it's a great opportunity for you, again, both to do research, but also do some experiential work. Next. Here are some opportunities for you, for those of you who are considering this field and are still undecided. We have faculty members, as I said, with such great diverse experiences. And there is also the possibility of, not the possibility, but the certainty of you having peer mentoring, which is really literally learning from each other. You have alumni who are in such great established positions, and we'll talk about that again. And you will see that those are some great resources for you at this department. There are opportunities for you to jointly publish with faculty. Some of our faculty do that a lot. So publish in books, academic journals, professional journals, and you'll definitely have the encouragement if you are interested in doing so. And this particularly would apply to PhD students who really must try to publish as much as they can before even they complete their dissertations. We also have a lot of different, what we call global practicum, but these are really field courses, immersive learning courses. And here are examples of some of the courses our students have been to. Could we go to the previous one? I just want to talk 1 minute about the kinds of practicums we have had before. Morocco, there is a faculty who's led, which is Dr. Duckworth, who's here with us right now. Dr. Duckworth has led this on talking about peace building and human rights advocacy. We have had faculty who have gone to Suriname and Ecuador studying sustainable development, Dominica on environmental tourism, and more. There are things that go even way further back. But if you go to the next slide, that's where we are talking about the kinds of practicums that are available to you this coming year. And they are, I mean, of course, you may be joining us, in the winter, or you're planning to joining us in the summer, but we are doing two of them. One is going to Puerto Rico, and the other one that is going to Geneva. So very exciting ones that you are going to be a part of. As I said, the first one in Puerto Rico will be sustainable development, and the one in Geneva will be human rights and peace. Next one, please. I think you've already heard about NSU facilities. Aside from the library that is so brilliant, I've been there a few times now, and it's really great. Apart from that, you have the athletic center, you have a student association that you can certainly be a part of, and that's a great opportunity to get engaged, more further engaged. We also have career development center, a veterans center, and smart classrooms. So, if you choose to be an in-person student, those are some of the opportunities for you. Thank you. Next one, please. Right. So I'm going to introduce to you my colleague, Dr. Duckworth. Dr. Duckworth, as you can read from her bio over here, has been in the field of conflict resolution and peace building for a long time. Her specialty is in peace education, and she wrote a book on 9/11 and collective memory in US classrooms, followed by an edited book that she did with members of the department. So if you want to see some of our faculty writings, that's a great book to look at. But Dr. Duckworth and I went to the same school, so it is my great pleasure to pass it on to her now.
Good evening, everybody. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Pushpa, for all of that information and for such a great introduction. In my capacity here tonight, I am pleased to be the director of our master's program, which I love doing. I've discovered that it's a really different and special way to get to know our students outside of the classroom, which I really enjoy, talking about careers and your goals and passions, and how do we find the right fit in terms of electives and practicums and things like this. So it's very, very exciting. One of the things, if we could go to the slide just back, the one that we were just on, I wanted to share a little bit about kind of how we envision our masters, and what you will be able to do, right, if you join our master's program, which is advance in a diverse profession that promotes nonviolent, non-litigious solutions for conflict that may arise in all kinds of areas of life: personal, professional, organizational, social. And by social, we mean any kind of level: community, national, global. So thank you. We can go to the next slide now. I appreciate that. Here's our curriculum. So we're 36 credits. I'll go through this pretty quickly because we've also got the PhD, and I hope we'll have a rich Q&A. We're 36 credits, which is about on par. You complete a field practicum, and Dr. Iyer was talking about some of those options. Of course, we offer a number of global options. We also offer options that involve virtual engagement, options right here in the South Florida area, or local to some of our other campuses in here in Florida. That's a really exciting experience for students because it's really where you develop a network, some professional associations, and put your skills to use in a professional environment. You complete a capstone project, which is, as you can see, if you look at the slide here, hopefully that print is not too small. We made it as big as we could on one slide. A capstone project is really exciting because it's where you bring theory and research and practice together in the context of a real world conflict. What you do, and this isn't hypothetical, right? You implement, right, a conflict resolution project that you have designed on a conflict of your choice. We've had students work with organizations, this is on everybody's mind right now, quite heart-wrenchingly, in Israel and Palestine, right, who are working with different kinds of youth sports programs. We had an organization working, a student who did some work. He originated from Algeria, doing some work in Algeria before he went on to settle in Canada. I could give a few other examples. I don't want to take too long, but the thing to take away is that, again, this isn't hypothetical. By the end of the program, you're going to have those three threads in your hand: theory, research, and practice, that you can weave together into an initiative that should be able to address and transform conflict dynamics, right? Because sometimes conflict can be an incredibly engaging, creative, useful process, right? But I think we all knew as well, sometimes it can be an incredibly destructive, even violent process, right? And so how do we intervene when that's the case, right? So you can look at the slide here. We've got our foundational course, which I love to teach, communication dynamics, some skills-based courses that really hone in on practical skills: mediation, negotiation, research design, and evaluating programs, right? Employers love that. They love to see that on a CV because it's a lot of what organizations need. Culture and conflict, something that's on everybody's mind these days in a really diverse, multicultural society. How do we collectively, collaboratively problem solve, right? Facilitation, professional practice and ethics, the internship that I was describing, and then of course the capstone that I was describing. So we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So what's a typical experience? For full-time students taking 6 to 9 credits, you can expect to complete your coursework in about 15 months. Part-time students take a little bit longer depending on exactly how many courses you choose to take. You can complete in about 2 years. Maximum enrollment is 5 years. Summer attendance is mandatory. Taking 9 credits requires approval, just something to note. And here's the student handbook link. If someone could drop that in the chat box, just in case that link is not live, which at least on my end it isn't, that would be great for students to be able to have that. So that's a little bit about our curriculum. We can go to the next slide. Here are some examples of the capstone that I was digging into. So this is just a list of different kinds of areas that over the different semesters capstone students have looked at. Oh, thank you for that live link, Brett. So conflict and crisis communication, right? Whether it's a community crisis, an organizational crisis, healthcare, right? Healthcares are organizations that are very, very complex and dynamic, important, and they deal with a lot of conflict. Leadership in any kind of organization, especially leadership through contexts of change, strategic community planning, family-based conflict, which sometimes can involve violence, law enforcement collaboration, right? How can we prepare? And I'll give a shout out to my colleague, Dr. McKay here, who has done some really great work that maybe she'll have a minute to talk about, training local police in de-escalation techniques, right? And public policy, right? How can we design public policy and institutions so that conflicts are less likely to begin in the first place, right? Capstone projects have addressed these kinds of questions. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. Our alumni spotlight. We've got a few, but again, in the interest of time, some of the others are PhDs, so Dr. McKay will discuss that. So Savannah Cianci, she graduated, she was class of 2023. I won't read her entire quote here. You can take a look at it. But as you can see here, she describes, and this is really interesting. I notice a lot of people have this experience, not quite knowing that we were the field she wanted. I like to joke that we are the iPhone of fields, right? You didn't know how essential we were until you discovered that we exist. And as you'll read here, she had that kind of experience. As she says, conflict happens every day all around the world. And she's able to apply, not just in her life, but also her work and future, everything that she's learned in her master's. You can see she went on to successfully become a family Supreme Court certified mediator. So that's where she's doing now, making a real difference in the lives of those families. So thank you very much. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. If I have access, and I think I do, I'll drop my email in the chat, but it will also be on a slide. And I'll move on to introducing my colleague, Dr. Judith McKay. She directs our PhD conflict. She also directs our Community Resolution Services, CRS at NSU. CRS provides services to NSU and local communities, including different kinds of workshops, trainings, facilitation, family programs, conflict coaching. Right? So CRS in a lot of ways is where the rubber really meets the road. So Dr. McKay, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Duckworth. And I would also like to share the welcome that Dr. Iyer and Dr. Duckworth extended to all of you. We're really thrilled that you're here. We know you're busy people, and the fact that you have taken the time to join us, we really appreciate it. I've been in the field of conflict resolution for a number of years. I started on the practice side. I was a trial attorney and was doing mediations and facilitations and trials and case management, negotiations, and helping people try to resolve their situation. Because as I would always tell my clients, the minute you walk through the courtroom door, that's fine. I used to love to do trials, but now you're basically saying to the court, we're incapable of solving our own issues. And so now we leave it to the court, be it the judge or be it a jury, to decide the outcome. We've given up our opportunity to decide the outcome. And so I always encourage my clients to take a very proactive role with me in trying to negotiate through, mediate through their conflicts, because they're the expert of their situation. The judge is going to read a file, they're going to listen to testimony, that's it, in, out. The file gets closed, the clients live the outcome. So is it an outcome that you co-created, or is it an outcome that was simply imposed on you? And oftentimes that's your choice. And so I've really enjoyed so much the field of conflict resolution, because it does empower people to take that proactive stand and to look at their own situation and determine what works for me, what would be helpful to me. Because, through things like mediation, you can actually work out, different types of, negotiated settlements that the court would not be able to impose on its own. And so it's really very advantageous. I do a lot of work in the community. I define myself as a pracademic with a foot in practice and with a foot in the academic domain. And yes, I do work with community resolution services. I also work with the Social Justice Roundtable, and we put on a number of events throughout the year. Next slide, please. And so let's look for a moment at the curriculum for the PhD program. The PhD program is a 76 credit program. And as you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see how it's broken down into different types of courses, looking at core classes, practice courses, theory courses, research courses, things of that nature. And, some of our doctoral students choose, to basically have a concentration and be able to take specific courses designed to help them come with a better understanding of an area of great interest to them. Students have to complete a minimum of 76 credits. They must pass a preliminary review where the faculty talk with them and they self-reflect on how things are going. They pass a qualifying examination, which is a written 3-day open book examination. You can use any materials, but not other people. Successfully defend a dissertation and maintain a 3.5 GPA throughout the program. So is it a rigorous program? Yes. Are you able to work full time while you're in the program? Yes, we have a number of students who do that, and we have some students who don't. And as was mentioned previously, our classes are basically in the evening, so you are able to continue with your career and then still take classes in the evening. Next slide. Okay, and basically, if you take 9 credits a semester, the coursework will be completed in 2.5 years. If you take 6 credits, it'll be completed in 4 years. The enrollment period is 7 years, because realize once you're done with your classes, you have to pass a qualifying exam, and the qualifying exam qualifies you to go on to dissertation. A PhD is really in 3 parts: coursework, qualifying examination, dissertation. And the courses are offered year round. So we have 3 terms, and we're able to basically, work throughout that. And essentially, if you want to take 9 credits, you do need departmental approval. And of course, there is that student handbook link, which Brett so very kindly put into the chat, for you. Next slide, please. And so our concentrations on the doctoral level are interpersonal conflict. That's the conflicts that we have with other people. And they can be one-on-one conflicts. They can be small group conflicts. They can be conflicts that, are based on family members, on neighbors, all kinds of things. We have community-based conflict, and, communities are really interesting. They can be the most welcoming, positive, wonderful living experiences, living in a very successful community. They can also be huge challenges. And so, like, I often think of, your strength is also your weakness. So the diversity of our communities that's incredible. I mean, there's so much richness. You learn so much, but it can also be a challenge as we're getting to know people who see the world differently than we do. I personally think that's fascinating, but some people find that a little scary. Conflict in organizations, very significant. I mean, how many times do you turn on the TV or turn on the internet and see that some disgruntled current employee or former employee went into the workplace and decided to be problematic, either become an active shooter or start a difficulty? And while most conflicts in organizations are not quite that dramatic, the reality is they exist. Because remember, the more interdependent people are, the more likely it is that they're going to have conflict. You're not going to have a conflict very likely with somebody who lives 6 blocks away from you, but the person next door or across the street or behind your backyard, higher chance. And then, of course, global conflict. Looking at the types of conflicts that are going on around the world, and not only just the very well-known ones, the ones that we see all the time in the news, but there are so many other global conflicts that some people may not even be that aware of because they don't get the traction in the media that some of them do. And happily, we have faculty who are interested in all of those areas. We have some that specialize in the international domain, some in organizations, some in the community, and some interpersonally. So you'd be in very good company. Next slide, please. And so where will it take you? It can take you wherever you want to go. You've got, careers in everything from social service and education and healthcare, government, nonprofit, and military, and also various roles from being an advanced practitioner, an educator, a consultant, an evaluator. It's really fascinating. The people that come into our program with their hugely successful prior careers wanting either their trajectory to go higher or to go into a new career. And let's face it, with conflict resolution, wherever two or more are gathered, there shall be conflict. So it's not a matter of, oh, will there be things for me to do? Will there be conflicts? You bet your life there'll be conflicts. Next slide. Here's an alumni spotlight that I would just like to briefly highlight. We have so many alums doing so many fascinating things. We have Jackie over here, who is a vice president for equity and belonging for St. Catherine University in Minnesota. Previously, she served in that capacity in several other universities, incredible person. We have Pat, and he is a professor of practice at the Perry Center of the National Defense University. He has a military background, and he brings that with his conflict resolution background, and he brings them together. We have Gwen, and Gwen is an environmentalist. She has done amazing work in Suriname, and she is just somebody who's so inspirational. Whenever I get the opportunity to speak with her, I'm always so impressed. Next slide. And then we have Basil, and Basil is the president and CEO of an international center for ethnic and religious mediation. We have Scotty. Scotty has a really interesting job with Boeing, and she does a lot of work with ethics and the whole idea of how people are getting along and how she can help them get along even better. And then we have somebody like Alicia, who is the principal ombuds at the Baylor College of Medicine. And ombuds is something that is a very exciting part of our discipline. And with an ombuds, and we have a class in ombuds, and we have an ombuds on faculty, it's really exciting because it's helping people to figure out their situation and helping them to strategize as to what to do about it. Because when the answer isn't just handed to you, but you help co-create it, it's much more powerful. Next slide. And I'm done. Thank you so much. I look forward to your questions later on.
Faculty members, thank you very much for, as always, doing a wonderful job explaining all the great things that your department handles. I do want to take just one quick moment. Just to remind everybody, we will be doing a Q&A session at the end. I know there are usually a lot of questions, so we'll make sure that those get answered. Just to reintroduce my staff, like I said, my name is Brett McAllister. I'm the Director for Graduate Admissions. We have with us tonight Mr. Theodore Uwe, who's in the middle, Ms. Farah Amro, who the majority of you have spoken with at some point. Ms. Megan Troy is not with us this evening. She is busy. Mr. Andrew Gepner is our administrative coordinator. If you ever do call in, you will most likely get Andrew, if you are calling the Halmos College General line, and he will direct you to another member of my staff. And while Ms. M. Rowe is the predominant contact for your Department of Conflict Analysis and Resolution, any member of our staff will happily be able to answer questions for you, or at least go find them. So, Ms. Rowe, I'm going to turn it on over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Brett, for the introduction. As Brett mentioned, I am the Graduate Admission Counselor assigned to receive and coordinate admissions to the graduate programs of the Department of Conflict Resolution Studies at Halmos College of Arts and Sciences. I'm here to assist you all with any admission-related questions you may have, and you're more than welcome to contact me via phone, email, or Zoom. What I'll cover for you today is the criteria you must meet to enroll in our master's or doctoral programs in conflict resolution studies and the admission process, starting with our application deadlines. We enroll students in our master's program on a rolling basis, meaning you can start the program during any of our semesters. We're currently taking and reviewing applications for winter 2024 with a closing application date of November 15th, 2024. So you still have about a month to submit your application for this semester. But you can also apply for later semesters, such as for summer 2024 with an application deadline of April 18th, 2025, or for fall 2025 with an application deadline of July 18th, 2025. As for our doctoral program, we only enroll students during the fall semester. So if you're interested in joining our PhD program, please make sure you do not miss the upcoming application deadline of July 18th, because missing this deadline means you'll have to wait till fall 2026 to enroll. The requirements to apply for our master's or doctoral programs in conflict resolution and analysis are almost identical with a couple of differences. For both programs, the first step is completing and submitting an online application, as well as paying a non-refundable application fee of $50. But we have good news to all of you who are with us today, and I know I've been asked that question by you via email. Because you've attended this, we will be waiving this application fee for you. You're going to receive an email from us during the next week with an application fee waiver code. This is us thanking you for taking the time to be here today. But if you're someone who already paid the fee, unfortunately, we cannot credit it back. The next step in the admission process is requesting official transcripts or official evaluation forms to be mailed or emailed to us by your colleges. Official transcripts or official evaluation forms must come directly from your college to our Enrollment Processing Services department. So not to us, to the EPS department. And that's a separate department than us that receives and confirms the officiality of your transcripts. We cannot accept copies or unofficial transcripts. Regarding the official evaluation form, it's a requirement for any degree that you've earned at a college or university outside the USA. An evaluation form of your degree determines its US equivalency, allowing us to better understand your education credentials and your GPA. In this case, meaning if your degree is from an institution outside the US, do not request official transcripts to be sent to the EPS. Instead, you must choose an evaluation company which will take care of receiving your official transcripts, evaluating them, and then emailing or mailing us the final evaluation form. NACES, or the National Association of Credential Evaluation Services, lists approved companies on their website that you can contact to evaluate your degrees. But at NSU as well, we have agreements with a couple of these companies that can evaluate your degrees for a discounted price. So you can contact me at any time for further information about this. In case you're in your last semester but would like to apply for our programs, you can do so and you will be considered for provisional admission. However, we'll still require a final official transcript after degree completion so you can receive full admission into the program. Now, once you've submitted and paid for your online application, you can start uploading the other required documents. And these would be your letters of recommendation. The master's program requires 2 of those, either both academic or 1 academic and 1 professional, while the doctoral program requires 3 recommendation letters, 2 academic and 1 professional. If for any reason you're unable to provide us with an academic reference, please let us know your reason so we can decide if we'll accept a professional one instead of it. We also require a personal statement, which is an essay that gives us insight into your personal, academic, and professional backgrounds. It tells us why you're interested in the program and how the degree can help you achieve your future goals. Please make sure that this personal statement is well written, free of grammatical and spelling errors, and keep in mind it could be the determining factor in your admission. This document, the personal statement, can be 500 to 1,000 words long. The writing sample is any written paper you've submitted before for grading or for a publication. It can be a research paper, a submitted journal writing, an editorial, or a piece of professional writing, but it cannot be something extracted from your social media accounts. If your writing sample is longer than 5 pages, we ask you to choose your best 2 to 5 pages of it and submit those in order to allow members of our faculty review committee to efficiently review your whole application. Keep in mind that the pages that you select should reflect the objectives of your entire writing document from beginning to end, so the readers can better understand the context of the sample. We also, of course, require the CV or resume, which just makes sure that you have your recent contact information on it. Finally, and most importantly, you must meet the minimum GPA requirement to apply to our graduate programs. For the master's degree, we require a minimum of 3 as a GPA, while for the doctorate program, we require a minimum of 3.5. Having said that, if your GPA is lower, but you know you have work experience that can compensate for the lower GPA, please do reflect this in your personal statement and your resume. We also advise you in this case, if you have a lower GPA, to connect with the program directors, Drs. McKay and Duckworth, who can help you decide if applying with your current GPA is possible or whether there is a better option for you. There are a few notes that I would like to highlight regarding your online application form. Some of the information the form will ask you for is demographic, contact, and prior college information. First, please make sure that you use the email address that you most frequently check, because we will be sending application updates to this email address. Second, when you're asked for the entry term you're applying for, make sure you know exactly what the term is called so you can choose the right one from the list. Third, in case you're applying to multiple programs, make sure you submit a separate application for each program. A common question I get from applicants is, I logged into my account, but I cannot see where I can upload the documents you required from me, such as the CV, the personal statement, the writing sample, etc. You cannot upload any of these admission documents until you've paid the application fee and submitted the initial application. And once that is completed, then you can log back into your account, and a new tab entitled Admission Documents will show on your application, as you can see it here. And you click on it and then start uploading those documents. Another common issue our applicants might encounter is us contacting them saying, we're missing a recommendation letter for you, but you know that your referee confirmed that they did complete it. What most likely happened in this case is that your referee received the link to the online form, which you see on the screen now, and they actually did answer all the questions and submitted the form thinking that this was what they had to do. If you look at the first page highlighted in orange, it says upload recommendation files, and it has a choose a file option under it. On the last page, which is highlighted in yellow, the form asks your referee to submit a written recommendation letter for you. Many referees miss this request and submit the online form without uploading their written letter. To avoid running into this issue, we advise you to email your referees after you've sent them the link to let them know that when they are completing the online form, they need to write a letter for you on a PDF or Word format, and preferably on their organization's letterhead, and then make sure they attach it and upload it to the online form before submitting it to us. Doing so will avoid unnecessary delays to your application being complete. Now, after we have your completed application, your supplemental documents, we review them, we make sure that they're not missing anything, and then we submit them to the faculty review committee, which in its turn reviews your application to make an admission decision. The faculty review committee usually takes 10 to 15 business days to get back to us with a decision. When we have that decision, we email you to hopefully congratulate you and inform you of the next steps you must complete to fully enroll. And those would be, first, paying a non-refundable seat deposit of $100, which goes towards your tuition and allows us to reserve your seat in the program. And second, registering for your classes, and our program coordinators will be available to guide you through this process. With regards to the tuition and fees, our program cost is per credit. For the master's program, you have 36 credits to complete. Each credit is $843. So your total tuition would be $30,348. For the doctorate program, you have 76 credits to complete. Each credit is $1,204. So your total tuition would be $91,504. In addition to this, you must plan for other possible fees, such as the cost of books, health insurance, housing, food, transportation, etc. This is a case-by-case situation, of course. Our website lists average amounts for these additional fees. You can contact me or any of my team members, and I'll provide you with a link and explain them to you if needed. Our U.S. applicants can, of course, benefit from financial aid provided by FAFSA. You're more than welcome to contact the financial aid department for further information on the packages that are available for you. The financial aid department's contact info is also listed for your convenience on the screen and can be provided to you at any time. In addition, all our applicants, including international applicants, can benefit from the payment plans offered by our bursar's office. These plans break your semester bill into monthly payments. I've also included the bursar's office contact info here on the screen. And by the way, we will send you this presentation via email. You can also find it on our YouTube later in case you'd like to review all these slides again. And I can also send you the information by email. Well, Halmos College of Arts and Sciences offers scholarships to students at three different levels: institutional, college-wide, and department-specific. However, unfortunately, none of these scholarships are available before enrolling in the programs. To be eligible to apply for any of these scholarships, you must be enrolled in the graduate program and have established GPA at NSU. Keep in mind, though, that you can only apply if you're a full-time student, and that even if you earn the scholarship, the amount won't be large enough to cover your tuition. These programs are to be paid for mostly out of pocket. We unfortunately do not offer any full funding opportunities. If you have further questions regarding these scholarships, please send an email to the email address you see on the screen, hcastscholarships@nova.edu, or contact me directly later. We also offer a 30% tuition discount to employees of Broward County Sheriff's Office and a 20% tuition discount to our US veterans. So if you're in any of these two groups, please contact me or Mr. Matthew Chenworth, His contact info is on the screen. Please make sure you check Halmos College of Arts Sciences graduate program catalog, which Brett already put the link for in the chat box for 2024-2025. It details specific information about the graduate programs. Halmos College of Arts and Sciences has social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. To hear more about our programs and events, please look us up under NSU Halmos College of Arts and Sciences and make sure to follow us there. As a matter of fact, if you are one of our students, we have a Lunch and Learn event scheduled for November 11th from 12 to 1:30 p.m. It will take place in DeSantis Building, room 3000. The event is an opportunity for you to meet some of the faculty members representing all departments at Halmos College of Arts and Sciences. You can learn more about the graduate programs directly from them, and you can have lunch on us. So if you're around, we'd love to meet you. As we come to the end of our open house for today, I'd like to thank you all so much for taking the time to be with us tonight, and I cannot wait to connect with you all. I'm going to leave the floor to Brett now to take any questions you might have.
So if there are any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. I do know there was a couple questions that came in kind of early, and I want to make sure that I don't forget to go back if I did not answer those. I know a couple questions that were answered. The requirements for the PhD was covered. As far as funding for the PhD, that was also covered. And then the question, the ever-present one that we do get a lot is, how easy is it to live in Florida in terms of cost? I can speak to the fact that obviously housing costs have risen in Florida. That is one of the perks of this program being specifically having the ability to be online. But unfortunately, we are not able to speak to anybody's personal financial situations or things of that nature. I am sure that there are searches that you would be able to do through the internet, searching just to find out, general pricing, inflation of things in Florida. And unfortunately, that's not something we can really discuss because we don't know every individual's financial situation. So I do apologize for that. But we do have a question for our, that our faculty members hopefully will be able to answer and help with. So, are there opportunities for international students to conduct research related to conflicts in Africa or other regions? And what kind of support is available for such a research projects?
I can jump in and start answering that question, and then my colleagues can expand upon it based on their knowledge and experience. The answer is yes. The answer is we do have, as was explained earlier, we do have global practicums. We do have projects that are going on in other countries. Actually, we've had a number of students from Africa over the years, and so, from various African nations. And that's been really rich and very, diverse in our program. Individual faculty member will oftentimes in a global practicum have a project set forth, and students who are interested when it's offered will then sign up for it and will take part in that. We're always looking for ways to help make that affordable for students. So we're always on the lookout for grants and for donations and from other things, but lots of times, students may just have to pay for it, right out of their pocket. But it's basically, exciting because students are able to take everything that they've had before, their career, their education, join it with conflict resolution in our program, and then actually experience it in the real world. So we're really excited about that. And we also offer a number of those opportunities here in the United States as well.
One of the things
Thank
that
you.
I wanted
Yeah.
to emphasize you too, and thank you, Judith, for all of that excellent information. We really do have an incredibly diverse student body, and that's where so much richness of learning comes from. And one of the things that I've seen students be able to do, if they're interested in a particular area, whether it's Africa or Caribbean, we have a lot of students from the Caribbean, Latin America, Asia, and you already know fairly well a particular conflict that you would like to know better. Many of our students come from these countries, as Dr. McKay was suggesting. Our graduate assistantships can be a good way to work with a faculty member who shares those interests. I've done this with students. One of my real passions is youth conflict resolution, anywhere in the world that you might be talking about, human rights education and peace education in schools. We've got a couple of people who on our faculty who focus on Africa. We've got a couple who focus on Latin America. So graduate assistantships with those faculty members can be a great way, kind of leading into that dissertation, right? So then maybe that faculty member goes on to become your dissertation chair, right? Which is not magically going, a GA-ship obviously will pay you, but then that's, especially if you're doing your dissertation study, then that on a particular conflict, that opens up some potentialities for grants. Small sort of developing world scholar travel grants, student travel grants, things like that. They come from a lot of different kinds of foundations. We send out a newsletter periodically that has all kinds of information about practicums and classes and conferences and publishing opportunities and grants and scholarships and just connecting you to this field. So I know where I've got my eye on the clock. I hope that that's useful information to give a sense of some of the things that students are able to do to fund those kinds of projects.
Thank you very much, faculty. Farage, would you mind answering the next question for us? Are there studentship opportunities available to the PhD students, and at what stage of the program are they offered?
So if we're talking about scholarships, there are scholarships, as I mentioned, that are available, and they're available as they come in. You have to have just an established GPA with NSU, and then you will be eligible to apply. Now, the faculty, I've been talking with a lot of them, and if any kind of research they're working on gets any funding, then that would be available for the students. But it's all as it comes. There is nothing that can be guaranteed to you before you enroll in the program.
Absolutely. And I would just add something quickly, is that besides, scholarships or grants that we may have available, for example, years ago, I had several grants from the U.S. Department of Justice, and I was able to hire a number of students over the course of years to help pay for their education while they were working with the grant. There are also other scholarships available that if you go to our library and you hook up with one of our librarians, there are a number of organizations and agencies that offer different scholarships. You just have to know where to look. One year, one of our students actually applied for a number of small scholarships and ended up with just about enough money to pay for an entire semester. And so, little by little, depending upon what type of profession have you been in, what profession have your parents been in, it's really interesting to see the amount of money that's out there, and some of it goes unclaimed.
To add to that, actually, our librarians are available for you. They can help you look for scholarships as well. So that would be something that's available for you as a student.
Thank you very much for answering those questions. Being more specific about funding, do you offer funding in the form of a GTA to newly admitted PhD students? I will admit I am not fully familiar with what the GTA acronym is.
Graduate teaching assistantship, I think.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So for graduate teaching assistantships, again, if the faculty, as Dr. McKay was saying, if the faculty have the funding and have the grants to hire teaching assistants, then they will definitely do that.
And we do have graduate assistantships. They're not specifically teaching, but they're to work with individual faculty on research or practice or different things they're involved with. They're not, you're not eligible until you're already in the program. You have to be in the program at least a term, because we want to be able to see how well you're doing. And at that point, you have the opportunity to also get to know some of the faculty and know, boy, I'd really love to work with Dr. Duckworth, for example, or Dr. Iyer. And so then you have the opportunity, they have the opportunity to get to know you too.
Thank you, Dr. McKay. And we have probably time for maybe one more question. I know we're approaching that 6:30 time, and I want to make sure that we are cognizant of not only our guests, but our very busy faculty members as well. And if there are extra questions that do not have a time to answer this evening, please feel free to email any member of our staff. And if it's an admissions question, we'll answer it. If not, we will, of course, pass it on to our fantastic faculty members, and they can answer it then at that time. All right, well, it looks like that is all of the questions that we do have this evening. For those of you that did attend, thank you oh, we have one more. Is it possible for PhD students to switch from online to in-person study? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That is an opportunity you can do as well, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, we have some people who are local to South Florida, and they may be taking, let's say, 2 courses in a term, and one may be online, one may be residential. And we've also had people who have started online and then decided to move to South Florida and switch to residential. So yes, the answer to that is yes. You just can't switch in the middle of a term. You have to switch at the beginning of a term.
Thank you, Dr. McKay, for that clarity. Well, as I mentioned, we are hitting that 6:30 time slot. So if there are future questions, please send myself or Miss Rowe an email, or any of our lovely faculty members that are with us this evening. They will happily help and work with you all. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday night and enjoy a great weekend. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.